Hi, how are you? So, on 17th of November, we are going to celebrate the feast day of Saint Elizabeth of Hungary. So, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary is the patroness of the Franciscan Third Order. So, in Franciscan, they have three orders. Order of Friars, which is composed by the religious brothers and the friars. So, OFM, Conventual, and Capuchins. And the second order is the order of poor clerks. So the poor clerks are the nuns. And the third one is the secular Franciscan order. So for the secular Franciscans, so for lay people. And on 17, yeah, we will celebrate the feast of the patroness of the OFS. So, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary was a princess. She was born nearly 800 years ago, and she was inspired by God to use her royal position as a princess by birth and countess by marriage to help the poor. Elizabeth was born to King Andrew II and Queen Gertrude in Pressburg, Hungary. And after her birth, her parents promised Elizabeth in marriage to Louis, son of Hermann, a landgrave in Germany. So, at the age of 14, Elizabeth got married. So, it was a marriage of mutual devotion, and they had three children. Her husband, Louis, was always away from business. So, during those times, Elizabeth began giving her life to God by carrying those who are needy. So, she used the castle to store feeds hundreds of people. So they pay their debts and gave clothes to anyone who are in need. She also traveled nearby villages looking for the sick, especially those with leprosy, and gave them special attention. So there was this story, that a legend, that one time she brought a leper to the castle, and she used her husband's bed to care for the man. So it was said that when Louis came home into his bedroom, he saw the figure of the crucified Christ instead of the leper. So Elizabeth, she sold personal possessions, jewels, and garments, and she used the money to feed the poor. She also funded the building of a hospital when she tended the sick. So her works of mercy, humility, and love of Jesus became widely known. So one day during a mass, while attending mass, she took off her crown and laid her crown at the foot of the crucified Christ. She believed that she couldn't come before Jesus wearing her crown when he wore a crown of thorns. So she prayed instantly. Sometimes she will uh, tell her servant to wake her every night so she could pray. Her husband, Louis, shared his wife's holiness and compassion for others. So only once he forbade Elizabeth to give away supplies belonging to the castle to pacify complaints of the royal court. But one day, a poor woman came seeking for food for her family. Then Elizabeth immediately produced a covered basket of food and was about to give it to the woman when Louis appeared. So this is the one of the famous story of Saint Elizabeth of Hungary. So he asked to see the basket, but when lifting the cover, he found it filled with roses. So after that, he never questioned Elizabeth again. So in 1227, while preparing to uh, participate in a crusade to the Holy Lands, Louis got sick and he died. Elizabeth was crushed by the death of her husband, and she vowed to live forever a life of chastity. So during the winter following Louis's death, she moved out of the castle. So she chose to join the people, the poor people of their place. She deprived herself of her possessions, giving up the clean, comfortable surroundings of the castle to live in poverty. Because of the fear of the people, so they wouldn't take her. She was rejected by those people she fed and clothed. And because of her uncertainty, Elizabeth sent her children away to live with others. So, with no husband and no children, she started to beg door to door and she committed her life to serving others. So, on Good Friday of 1228, Elizabeth was allowed to join the Third Order of Franciscans. So, they are committed to poverty, penance, and love of God. So she joined them, seeking to detach herself further from all earthly goods, except to the extent those goods that could help others. So also in 1228, she built a hospital using funds. Well, she received the funds from dowry and inheritance, and any excess from that money went to the poor. So she was encouraged also by her family to return to the life of royalty, which she refused. Elizabeth spent her final years living in a hut. So there was no disgrace in her lifestyle, but a dignity, because nothing came between her and God. She attained true poverty. She had stripped herself of all possessions in favor of assisting the less fortunate and chosen to live in a way that mirrored the teachings of Christ. Not yet 24 years old, she died because of poor health. November 17, 1231. So, yeah, that's it. That's the story of Saint Elizabeth of Hungary. I hope we learned something from her life and somewhat connected to her. If you want, you can read more about her or about other saints. And yeah, so pray for each other. I'm praying for you, and God bless. Bye bye.